With all the different factors and things that you've talked about, how important is hormone testing?
I think hormone testing is very important. I own a hormone testing laboratory, so people will go, "Oh yeah, of course." He's going to say it's important. But I see it on a daily basis. One of the things different about our lab is that we not only generate numbers for people. They say, "Okay, I want to know what the hormone levels are." We also have a questionnaire that asks people about the symptoms they have and the hormones they're taking. So the test report, we call it a test report with meaning. The test report is generated and it creates information about the patient. So we've tested over 2 million people, and I've seen what the symptoms are in the people, and I've seen what the hormone levels are, and there's that relationship. So we can see, okay, there's this person is postmenopausal. They have a low estradiol. They have hot flashes and night sweats and sleep disturbance. These are the problems that bother people every day. So you don't sleep, you don't feel good. You don't feel good. You wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, okay, I'm not right. And you think about that. How effective are you going to be in your job? So hormones are very important, and when they begin to change or they're out of balance, it creates a big problem. So in that report, we put together, I developed an artificial intelligence that actually looks at all that information, and it can generate a very, very specific comments for the individual. So it's an individualized comment field. So we would say, for example, and that person had low estradiol. So they had low estradiol, they had hot flashes, night sweats, all the problems associated with low estradiol. So the computer system looks at that, and it generates a report based on the information that we're given. So that we can say, okay, you've had your ovaries removed, so the computer sees that. Well, maybe that person's had breast cancer. So ordinarily, the report would say, you have a low estradiol, it's consistent with your symptoms, consider estrogen replacement therapy in combination with progesterone. We can't say, take 10 milligrams or whatever, twice a day. That's the physician and the pharmacist to work out with the patient. We lead them right to the door, and we say, okay, this is what we see. However, if that patient put down that they had breast cancer, the specific comment that's going to go with that is going to say, you've indicated that you have, a history of breast cancer, and estrogen replacement therapy is contraindicated. You're not going to get that. I mean, you could, if you've got a report from most other laboratories, you're going to get a number, and you're going to get a range, and that's pretty much all you're going to get. And it's left to you to figure it out. And the problem that I had when I first started developing these tests 25 years ago is I got the test all developed. And they were good tests. We developed in saliva and different body fluids. And the physicians would call me on the phone and they'd say, can you help me out with this patient? And I'd say, you know what? I'm a lab guy. I can help you. I know a lot about this. Tell me a little bit about the patient. So it would go on and on and on. I always get calls. I'd say, I don't know what to do with these numbers. And they pretty much, most people, that's how they feel. I don't know what to do with these numbers.
Right.
I've got if this is a number, it's high or low, what am I supposed to do? And that's why people are here at these conferences, because they're learning about what to do. So they have great physicians that, are working and know about this stuff and know, what kind of dosing, what kind of, response the patients are having with different combinations of therapy. So the report basically, so what I figured out was, hey, you know what? I got to figure out how to create a report. And it's got to be unique to the patient. So I've got to collect symptoms. And I have to know what hormones they're taking. I have to know how they're taking them. Are they taking them topical? Taking it oral? How are they taking them? Are they injecting them? So how are they taking the hormones? When did they last take them? Because they took them 6 months ago, it doesn't mean anything. If they took them 3 days ago, it doesn't mean anything relative to the numbers that you've got. You've got to know that they just took it right then. And how many hours has it been since they last took it? Because it's not relevant if it's more than 2 days out. It's like, okay, you're back to baseline again. So we have to know all those parameters. And I'm kind of a pack rat about information. So develop computer systems to collect all this information. And then I realized, okay, I've got all this data. I've got to create a report. So I've got to develop a software system it's an algorithm it's gonna dump all this information into it. It's going to take the numbers, it's going to take the expected ranges. Is that high or low? Is that number high or low? What kind of symptom patterns are there? And the one I was talking about, estrogen deficiency symptoms. They've got hot flashes, they've got night sweats, they have sleep disturbances, they're tearful, they have blah, 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 blah. How old are they? Are they 45? That's perimenopausal. Are they 70? That's postmenopausal. You know, what kind of things? So it takes all that information into consideration and dumps it into sort of a think tank. It's an algorithm, and there are possibilities. There are comments that can be created, because if that person's got breast cancer, the comment that's going to come out of there is going to be very different from if that patient doesn't have breast cancer, because it's going to be more of a warning. But you're not going to get that in any other report. So it's a unique, specialized, and that's why we call it a test report with meaning. It is a report that will tell you about the specific situation for that patient who's having their hormones tested. So, and what that did for me is to solve the problem of having to spend all this time on the phone. We still spend a lot of time on the phone, but it helped a lot in physicians being able to take that, and they're very dependent on it. They love it. You know, they like the test report with meaning. It's kind of like a Wikipedia, but it's a condensed. You know, it's like, okay, here's all the relevant information. That's, you know, you could look at, you know, what is estrogen. That's kind of what you get in the generalized report from most labs. Is it's just, it doesn't tell you specifically, okay, how does it relate to this patient? So that's what I'd say. That's what's unique, and I'd call it a test report with meaning. It took about 8 years to develop the artificial intelligence around that. So there, you know, and there are 20,000 different comments, and that's always growing as we bring on new tests and we do things in different body fluids. We have to create those specific comments for each one, and once we've done it for a particular pattern, then we don't have to do it again. Or we can add on to it. We might add references. You know, a new reference comes along. We say we need to put that reference in for, you know, for the physicians to be able to take a look at that paper. So that's I'd say what's unique about the product that we have.